I'm Teddy Cruz. I'm a professor of public culture and urbanization in the visual arts department at the University of California, San Diego. And with political theorist Fonna Forman, we direct an architecture, urban and political practice at the border between the United States and Mexico. My partner, political theorist Fonna Forman, and I have been focusing on the border territory between the United States and Mexico, more particularly between Tijuana and San Diego. And obviously the border is a very contested zone of conflict, and for us has been essential to elevate the border as a site of urban and political creativity, particularly at a time when borders everywhere are being rendered as sites of criminalization and polarization. I think that what is interesting is that the border itself is a physicalization of fear, the fear of the other, and really the ultimate manifestation of policies that tend to marginalize and exclude. So for us it's important to really contextualize the very particular moment we find ourselves in. At a moment of global closure, at a moment when public thinking, public institutions are being eroded because of dominant models of privatization and exclusion, I think it's important to investigate zones of conflict as creative environments from which to produce potentially a new civic and public imagination. I think there is a creative intelligence embedded in immigrant communities that we are trying to visualize and politically represent so that we might be able to transform top-down public policy, urban policy. We're interested in the practice of mediation and facilitation of that creative knowledge so that we can, as architects, produce new forms of equitable and inclusive urbanization. I think the future of the city today depends on that, not only on high technological projects, but really on new forms of democratization and equity. Many times, we've committed somehow, how would I call it, professional suicide, because we say that the future of the city today depends less on buildings and more on the reorganization of social and economic relations. And by that I mean a renewed role, or the critical role of architects in this case, of reorganizing social, economic, institutional protocols to produce higher accessibility to opportunity. So when we think of quality of life, it's not just to think of leisure, it's not to think of commodification of public space, it's not just to think of privatization to assure that quality of life, but in fact it's about expanding the horizon of accessibility for those underrepresented communities to have equal access, regardless of their gender, race, or class, for improving their own lives. And I think that that then would, for me, would really definitely begin to speak of a smart city. Smart city is one that really enables that level of access to opportunity.